Was anyone else disappointed in the dragons? One was already dead, and then the other one came in looking like a chicken that was plumed. But maybe that was just me. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comments about these dragons. Before I get into my review, if you like the content that I'm creating, please like, subscribe, and share this video. I would greatly appreciate it. So we are following up with the same three main characters, Siri, Gerald, and Yennefer. And it was an okay episode. I mean, I liked Siri, Gerald, and Yennefer. It was everyone else that I wasn't really feeling in this episode. The acting from the extras or the B actors, I guess you would call it. Some of them were really good. Some of them were really dry. Some of them couldn't hit their mark. That little boy that's going around with Siri with like the elf ears, his acting is so over exaggerated. You could tell he's acting. It's not really effortless. He's putting a lot of effort into every line, and it shows. And I know in most times, like, hey, you're giving a lot of effort in sports, and it's a good thing. When you're putting that much effort into acting, it's not a good thing. You kind of look robotic. You kind of look like you're way overthinking it. And maybe it was the director's vision to have him do that, or maybe he was being overtold like how to act. You could tell someone like 1,000 times like, I want it this way, I want it this way, and then you get into your head and you just kind of do mannerisms. So maybe they just allowed that to go through. But he was very stale, even though he tried in it to perform the lines as best as he could. But it just was, you could see it visually that he was just too much overthinking every mannerism with his hand. And when you're doing acting and you do a lot of hand gestures, it just comes off robotic. Another part that I didn't like, does anyone else feel like Yennefer's eyes go from brown to purple, even though they're supposed to be purple the whole entire time? I don't know if that's a deliberate. If it is, let me know down in the comments, because I still haven't picked that up. Or if it's just an error, a prop error. No, they were like, oh, we can't reshoot this, or they couldn't add the purple afterwards to make it look realistic. But yeah, in last episode, in episode 5, it started happening. Now I was like, okay, I'll let it go. One or two mistakes, I could bypass it. But there was so many scenes where it didn't look like she had her purple eyes. I even watched it back to back because I was like, wait, I missed some stuff here. And yeah, it just kept on taking me out. Like, I'm like, what's going on with her eyes? So yeah, I mean, the besides that, and the dragon also was pretty horrible. Not the design. I mean, he looked like a chicken, very skinny. The fact that the guy that hired Geralt to kill to protect the dragon, as we found out, and he falls down when they're in the cliff, and it becomes all dramatic, which I could care. I cared less about him falling, even though the song was sad, and Geralt was like, no, and then the girl kind of lets go. And also his squires or his protectors and stuff, and they're like, and they want us to care, but I didn't care. Did you guys care? Because I was just like, I'm okay with it. Now we're stuck with the characters that we care about or we have an invested interest. And then we find out that old man is the dragon, and he just needed him to protect him. Like, why did he need Geralt to protect him if he could shoot fire and destroy them all? So, at the end there was like, oh, it's like some kind of destiny. I'm like, okay, that was kind of dumb and a useless, not a useless episode, because I enjoyed it. It was a very good episode. Besides, like I said, the nitpicking that I'm doing with the extras and the B actors acting and whatnot. But when the dragon, and I get it, maybe I can't remember, and you guys are gonna kill me. I don't know if it's Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. I think it's Lord of the Rings, where the talking dragon. They should have went that route. When the dragon is talking, is like, oh, not today, or whatever the fuck he was saying. I did not believe it. I was like, his mouth wasn't moving, and it felt so freaking cheap. So I don't know what they were thinking in that episode, especially coming off of such a good episode in episode 5. Not as good, a bit of a letdown, but still entertaining. I love Geralt and Yennefer. I mean, who knew that Yennefer was such a badass with the sword? Now, a plot hole that I have is that how the hell does she become so dope with the sword? I mean, she stood next to one of the greatest warriors in this universe, Geralt, the monster slayer, and basically saved his life and stood toe to toe and defended herself. Where did she learn these skills? Was it magic? Was it witchcraft? I don't know. So, if you guys know, let me know down in the comments. Where did she learn these skills? Did I miss something in the other episodes? But I enjoyed that. They kicked ass so good, and I'm like, yeah, look at this power couple. That's so dope, And Ciri's line though, or Ciri's story arc is taking so long, and I'm starting not to care. There's like a prophecy now, and the shapeshifter guy, I don't know how Ciri found out that he was, had the inkling, but maybe because of his companion, like, oh, people that usually get caught in war, they don't just, leave. Like, how did he leave? And maybe that made, Ciri kind of think. But that story arc is going so freaking slow. I'm sure it's by design, but I'm almost starting not to care. Even though we started off caring, but by now, maybe it's just me, I really don't care. But still, with all that criticism, it was still an enjoyable episode. I was invested. I didn't doze off. The pacing was great. Like I said, from the main stars, the acting was great. The music choice was great. So all in all, an enjoyable episode. But hey, that is just my opinion. I would love to hear your opinions on this episode 6. So put those thoughts down in the comments. And like always, that's a wrap.